So the lovely Antonio colored my hair the other day, and I hadn't realized how blondie I was getting and brassy. And now, I have naturally curly hair. I make him, do something to make this a little straight. And I don't know. I said it looked like a 1930s movie actress with my little curls on. My goal is to get it to my shoulders, and once it gets to my shoulders, I'm actually seriously thinking of letting it go white. We'll see when we get there. Well, this is 24 hours, less than 24 hours before I get in my car and drive north and pick up my driver, Mariana, and we head out to Mazatlan. And we actually have a 10-hour day tomorrow. It's going to be a long day because because we're in Baja California and we have to go over to the mainland, and that alone takes 3 hours from Ensenada just to get to Mexicali and be able to go south on the mainland. So I've been doing a lot of exploring because when you move, you basically have to examine everything you've ever bought. Whatever's in your refrigerator, everything has to be examined and tossed or given away or packed. In my case, I am leaving the house furnished and with dishes and plates, and so it's you could move it, and you wouldn't really do anything but hang up your clothes. But I had to give away a lot of my clothes because Ensenada is kind of cool and has colder weather in the winter, and I'm going to Mazatlan, which is hot almost all year round. And that's going to be a challenge for me, but they have air conditioning. That's the other thing. It's an older city, it's a developed city. And yeah, so I happened to come across Gabor Matt, I think his name is. I want to say Mate, but I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Who's a doctor and also a writer. And he was talking about, he has just turned 80. Welcome, welcome. And what he said, there's a famous saying that nobody's on their deathbed and says, I wish I'd worked more. And he says he understands that more now. He wishes that he had, I don't even want to be quoting him, but this is what I got from him, that he basically wishes he had spent less time taking care of other people and suppressing his own feelings, and that he had an unconscious need to validate his existence. And I really resonated with that. I really went, oh, I really understood that as a writer, that there are times that I just write. And I publish on my WordPress website. No, but very few people read it, quite frankly. I think I have like 3 followers. On Blue Sky, I have almost 5,000 followers. And all I do is make rude comments about things. And here, as you know, we're less than 1,000. That's fine. I like my little club. I would probably quit if there's too many people, because I don't want to get into performing to validate my existence. I kind of use this as a journal, and the well, also in the United States, there's a whole thing: be productive. You got to be productive. And when you retire or you're forced into retirement, you have to find a way to live every day that does not match that standard of productivity. And they don't mean be productive like plant some onions. They don't mean that. Or, bake bread. That is not what it's meant by be productive. It means contribute to your society, usually by earning money. And also, as you retire, you tend to be earning less money. And I really felt that really touched me. And he says it's really an unconscious thing and that it comes from childhood trauma. And I think that's true. I certainly did not have an easygoing childhood. My mother, used to hear voices from the light switch, and they weren't happy voices. So that was, I didn't know that was unusual, by the way. Children who grow up with parents who have who are not mentally stable, we don't really know that. Maybe later we realize it because we maybe visit other people's homes, so the parents seem to be stable, although I grew up in the 1950s. Honestly, everybody's whacked out, particularly women. I was born sort of like in the first year of the war. 41, no, I was born in 40. The war started in 41, 1941 we're talking about. And so it was just, the women had, I guess, 5 or 6 years. Well, of course, the world had, everybody who was involved in World War II, had an enormous amount of stress. Were your family going to come home, and your members of your family going to return alive and whole? And I think the toll was 75 million people died in that world war. So it's really kind of impossible, isn't it, to think that there are wars going on right now that might involve more people, all of Europe and all of the Mideast. Really, we're on a planet, man. This is a planet in an expanding universe. What the hell are they doing having wars? But I digress. I'm moving to Mazatlan because I had a tragedy. My little puppy got out of the yard, and within a minute, she was hit by a speeding car and killed on impact. And I didn't think I was going to recover. Because I will say, those of you who have dogs know the one thing about a dog, and particularly a puppy, is it's just unconditional love. It's unconditional love. I don't have to perform for the puppy. I didn't have to perform for her. I just had to be here. And she was a lab. And if you ever have a lab, you know, they are very people oriented, and they are very loving. They're also very, very active. And truthfully, I got her when she was about 6 weeks old. So she was like, I could hold her in my hands. And she was 4.5 months old when she was killed. And I was waiting for that 5-month mark because that was when she was old enough. A trainer who I'd hired once to work with her told me that is the minimum age she could be to be trained. And I knew she was reaching a training age because not all dogs give you unconditional love. I have an older senior small dog, a white dog, is part terrier and probably part Chihuahua. And I would say that her love is not unconditional. When I pick up my journal to write, she walks away sometime into another room. If I want to hold her, maybe she will, maybe she won't. She's not a cuddly dog, and that really surprised me because I thought that's what I was getting. So when that happened, and I really was grieving every single day, I know people say, grief is grief. Grief is grief. It doesn't matter if it's for a parent or for a child, for an animal. Grief is grief, and it can kill you. You can die of grief. People literally do, and particularly if they've been in a long-term marriage, or they die of grief within 6 months or a year of their loved one. And I reached that point. Where I said, oh, you don't really want to go on living. And then I had to think, do I want to go on living? And the answer is yes. Yes, I want to go on living, but not here. Not where she was killed in front of the door. And not where there are loose dogs in the street, which, by the way, there were 2 other dogs on the street. They actually live on the street, the 2 other dogs. They have owners. They have people who feed them and who they hang out with because there's 2 other dogs who the owners do take care of. It's a whole other thing. I must say that the one thing that I find most difficult, and a lot of people do, is the treatment of animals in, well, I don't know if it's all over Mexico, but here in Ensenada. I hear in Mexico City they treat them like, little princes and princesses. But this is a semi-rural area just south of Centro in Ensenada. It still has dirt streets. There's a dirt street. That's the other thing I never want to see again. I never want to see a dirt street again. I want to live in a condo in Mazatlan or an apartment with a little outside area. And I hope maybe one day I can get another dog. It's a real issue with my older dog. She's very, despite being not affectionate and not cuddly, she's very possessive. And I feel, I don't want to say guilty, I feel a responsibility not to make her life miserable. And she was very miserable with the puppy. I had to give her CBD drops at times. She went through trauma of shaking all over. Oh, God. So, yeah. tomorrow I'm going, and I have a little trepidation. My inner child was very unhappy yesterday. Oh my God. First, she gave me a toothache. Then I had a tremor in my throat. Then I had a pain in my arm. And I'm 85. So you get these symptoms, you're like, I have to ask myself, is this a stroke or is this a heart attack? The answer was no. Right? I'm here. Right? I'm here. But I realized it. And I don't know if any of you ever done therapy with your inner child, but I basically talk to her when I realize it's her. And I assure her that we are going to be safe, because you have to understand that a lot of people, not only now, but when I turned 80, they began to tell me, oh, Carol, you can't live alone. You're 80 now. Basically, I want to say this to you. If you have, whether it's fortune or not fortune, whatever it is, and you make it to 80 or 90, if you are mobile, I always say, if you can do your own pedicures, you're fine. If you can do your own pedicures, you're not old. And you know the old saying, you're only, old is anybody who's 10 years older than I am is old. So I just wanted to check in with you, and I'm going to try not to make videos to validate my existence, because I have done that in the past. And I might still write to validate my existence, because I do kind of like it, actually. The hard part of writing, as anybody who's ever tried, is the idea you have in your head is so wonderful. You go, oh my God, I really have to write this. So wonderful. When you put it on paper, you go, oh my God. 3 years later, you go, oh, maybe it's okay. I can publish it now. Wherever you are, I hope you are safe. I hope you're enjoying whatever the moment is. I'll be making videos from the road, but I don't know if I can put them up at that time. We'll see.